We're going to come back to DNA replication, but before we get into that, I want to talk about the cell cycle. Each of us began our existence as, well, sperm meets egg, right? And that will result in a single-celled zygote. And that single-celled zygote carries with it the genetic material from both the egg and the sperm. The egg contributes 23 chromosomes, and the sperm contributes 23 chromosomes, making 46 chromosomes available in the zygote. Now, these chromosomes are paired. What does that mean? Well, I'm not going to draw all 23 pairs, but I'll go ahead and draw a couple of these different types of pairs. So we'll just be stereotypical. I'll pick pink for the maternal line, and I'll pick blue for the maternal line. And if we look at these chromosomes, if we zoom in on them, what we're going to see is, remember chromosomes, I've defined them already. They are DNA wrapped around histones, which coil into nucleosomes, which condense into chromosomes, okay? Well, actually, they condense into chromatin, but they're capable of condensing further into chromosomes. Normally, they exist in this, I like to call it singlet form, but the more correct term would just be to say it's not duplicated. Okay, so let's look at these. If we assume that this is chromosome 1, okay, what we have here is a pair. Each of them are chromosome 1s. That's our first pair. Chromosome 1 tends to be the largest, and if we look at the genetic material contained in them, they contain the same genes. However, they can also have variants of the genes, which we would refer to as alleles. We're going to spend time talking more about these alleles in the reproductive section of this class. For right now, just know that these are different variants of the genes, variations, things that give you the diversity that we see, whether your skin is dark versus light, eyes are blue versus brown, hair is curly versus straight. All of these would be controlled by a certain gene or set of genes, and the different alleles that you inherit from your mother or your father would contribute to your genetic makeup and to your overall, what we call a phenotype, the outward expression of these genes. Because these two are not identical, all right, so we could have, let me just illustrate this. We could have right here, let's say we've got a gene right here. And that gene might code for, I don't know, protein A, whatever protein A happens to be. On the other side, we will also have, I'll put it in green, a gene that codes for protein A. It's the exact same protein. That didn't show up very good. Let's try purple. It's the exact same purple. Oh, whoops, sorry. It's the exact same protein. It's still protein A. But there's been some mutations and changes, and so we're going to call it A prime. And so even though they are both gene A, they are different alleles or variants of gene A. We refer to these then as what we call homologous chromosomes. Meaning they carry the same gene. Homo means same. So in this case, homologous, they have the same genes but different variants of it. They are not identical to one another. Another example of a chromosome, and we'll go ahead and stick with this, is you could inherit, for example, the X chromosome. Okay, here's your X chromosome, and you're going to inherit that. Oops, let's try that, a different one. So we decided blue was purple. Let's say that this particular zygote is a genetically male zygote. And so you might inherit the X chromosome, okay, and the Y chromosome. just this little tiny thing. Those two are a set, but they're not homologs. They don't have the same genes because these are your sex chromosomes. We still refer to them as a pair. Okay, they're still a pair. But they're your sex chromosomes as opposed to a homologous pair. You have 23 or 22 of these homologous pairs, and you have one set, so 22. We call these autosomal. And then one set of your sex. Okay, for a total of 23 pairs, or 46 chromosomes total. Now, when we replicate these DNA, we're going to create duplicated chromosomes, and let me show you what that looks like. And I'll just draw chromosome 1. My duplicated chromosome, and I think I showed you this already, but it never hurts to review it again. So there's my duplicated chromosome, and I will even put my purple band on there. So we've got my purple band there and my purple band there, and both of those would be A prime, A prime. And then we would also have my duplicated chromosome there, and we'll go ahead and put my little black band on there, and that's going to be my exactly the same place, and we'll say that that's my protein A. We have still a pair, but these are now in duplicate form. So these two would still be considered homologous chromosomes. But now they have 1, 2 chromatids. And we actually call them sister chromatids, and they are identical to one another. So both of the paternal chromosomes or chromatids are identical to each other. And likewise over here, my chromatids are sister and they are identical to one another. Okay, so I want you to be comfortable with that, because this is going to be very relevant when we talk about cell division. We start out at a single cell, and this is just a very, very rough estimate. There are probably so many, I don't know, everybody has their own perfect estimate, and it is very, very rough. Okay, I don't know how many cells we really have in our body, other than to say we have a lot. And every single one of them came from that zygote. So how did we get from zygote to us? Well, primarily through cell division called mitosis. We also do a little bit of meiosis. But meiosis is specialized in producing gametes. The rest is mitosis, which will be part of this lecture, this discussion.